Hello, you are watching Middle East Matters on France 24. I'm Nadia Massi. Here's what's coming up this week in the show. Amid the war in Gaza, we take you to Israel and the occupied West Bank, where violence is worsening and tensions are running extremely high. But we'll also hear from Israelis and Palestinians trying to build bridges between their communities, despite the anger and the loss on both sides. We start the programme in the occupied West Bank, where amid the war in Gaza, life for Palestinians is becoming increasingly challenging. There are near daily raids by the Israeli army, which says it is targeting Hamas and other militant groups. But Palestinian civilians are being killed, and it's not just the army. Settlers are also harassing Palestinians and in some cases forcing them off their land. But today we bring you a different story of an Israeli rabbi doing his best to protect Palestinian olive farmers.
These Palestinian farmers are struggling to work. Israeli restrictions, settler attacks. One man is determined to protect the olive grove. He's a rabbi, an Israeli activist fighting for Palestinians' rights over the past 30 years.
In the field, we continue to see rampant settler violence that is not checked. The security forces are not willing to lift a finger, practically, to protect Palestinians.
Violence has kept rising over the past 5 weeks.
Since the 7th of October, the situation has completely changed. We can't go back to our land. Settlers and the Israeli army keep shooting at us.
Palestinian farmers aren't the only ones targeted. Residents across the West Bank are also concerned.
They attack us during the night. They destroy our things and sometimes hit us. There's a new problem every day.
Who came to hit you?
They hit my brother and 2 of my neighbors.
Who?
The settlers.
Palestinians are assaulted every day, sometimes killed. The NGO B'Tselem denounces the violence. Its Israeli and Palestinian members regularly publish videos online.
After October 7th, the situation became even more scary. The settler gangs that we already know, the convicted criminals, they started attacking our homes. They wear military uniforms and threaten people to leave.
Palestinians say only a few Israelis are willing to help them on the ground, wondering if peace will ever be found in the region.
Well, next we go from the West Bank to Israel and the town of Kfar Qasim. It's a so-called mixed area, home to Jewish Israelis, but mostly Palestinian citizens of Israel. And tensions there between communities are running high, as our reporter Cecile Galluccio has been finding out.
Visitors are slowly returning to the Kfar Qasim market after it was closed for several weeks. In this Israeli city of 25,000 people, most are Arab. Jewish Israelis living nearby also shop here. Prices are much lower and the atmosphere is usually lively. But that was before Hamas's attack.
We know some of the people, but we are more suspicious. We look around, we listen to voices, we are alert.
The situation in Gaza is disturbing and very difficult. It hurts both for Arabs and Jews. The war is also making Jews suffer.
These merchants are Arab citizens of Israel. They're descendants of Palestinians who stayed when the State of Israel was created in 1948. Israeli citizens, Palestinians at heart. As we leave the market, we meet an Israeli businessman. We ask him what he thinks of the Israeli response in Gaza.
I have not feeling nothing.
Even for civilians?
Look, 50% of people that entered on the 7th October from Gaza was a civilian, not Hamas. There were civilian people that work in Israel, and look what they do now. How can I feel anything of them?
Some civilians allegedly joined Hamas militants in the attack, but no figures have been officially confirmed. We head towards the old city, where only a few people agreed to share their opinion on camera.
What happened in early October was a mistake. It shouldn't have happened. It's a sin. It has nothing to do with religion or belief. I'm telling you, it's a terrorist act.
Often against both Hamas and the Israeli occupation of the West Bank, Arab Israelis are struggling to fit in. They make up 20% of the country's population.
Well, amid the ongoing bombardment of Gaza and weeks after October 7th, it's hard for many people in both communities to talk about peace. And so the voices of those who do are perhaps more important than ever. And that's why I'm very pleased to welcome to the programme Rula, Daood and Nadav Shofet from Standing Together, a grassroots movement that promotes equality between Jewish and Palestinian citizens of Israel. They join us from Tel Aviv. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nadav, let's start with you. This must be, I imagine, a really challenging time for peace activists such as yourself. Tell us what Standing Together has been doing since the Hamas attacks of October the 7th, and perhaps what kind of reaction you've been getting from Jewish Israelis.
The first thing we did, right, like the next couple of days, right after this whole thing started, we were all, of course, in shock and grieving. But we decided that one of the most important things we can do is strengthen the solidarity between Jews and Arabs inside of Israel in this time, which is creating so much tension between Jews and Arabs. So we created 14 different solidarity guards, joint Jewish and Arab solidarity guards all across Israel. And what they do is they do joint acts of solidarity to help citizens in this tough time. That means mutual donations to people who have been hurt, visits to families of people who've been injured or kidnapped from both sides of the communities, and also just kind of getting together, sometimes even having meetings with psychologists to help process the emotions and thoughts that come up. And we see that there is thousands and thousands of people joining our solidarity guards all across the country.
And Rula, you're a Palestinian citizen of Israel, so you have connections to both communities. I imagine that's a sort of complex identity even in peacetime, let alone now. How have the last few weeks been for you, and what's your message today to fellow Palestinians living in Israel?
The main thing I would love to give as a message is that at these times, especially in the Middle East and in Israel-Palestine, we all have this, as Palestinians, the complexity of the identity we hold, being also Israeli citizens, but also Palestinians, especially at times of war. But we still have the ability and the courage to hold on to these complexities, but also speak about partnership, about equality, about peace, and about security for everybody who lives in this piece of land, in Palestine and in Israel. I think my community, in spite of all the incitement and the violence we have been seeing since the beginning of this war, has been holding on in a pretty impressive way. And that is also thanks to the shared community we've been able to protect and to hold on through these times of war.
And Nadav, you mentioned thousands of Israelis are turning out to follow what Standing Together is doing. So does that mean you don't feel like your voices are a minority now in Israel? How would you say most people view what you're trying to do?
So it's definitely a time of extremes. And what we see is a lot of incitement from the government trying to incite hatred and racism and violence and separation between us. So we see a lot of people kind of fall into that trap and are experiencing these extreme emotions that are going to national kind of emotions. But having said that, there's also this moment in time where people are so very much looking for hope and solidarity and comfort in this shared community that we are part of creating.
And Rula, what would you say the atmosphere is like at the moment in so-called mixed cities, places like Haifa, Jaffa or Yafa?
Well, since the 7th of October, the main feeling was fear. People were afraid. But today, a month and I think more than a month to the 7th of October, people understood that the actions they made, the solidarity they showed as a shared community, proved others to be wrong. They were able to attain a place where they have real shared communities, where there was no violence. And on the contrary, there has been so many solidarity actions in mixed city. So maybe that kind of fear today, I hope so, is becoming more a kind of a feeling of power and courage. That we can rely on our shared community, and we can be strong to save that shared community.
Just a final thought from both of you. We don't have very much time left, but I just want to hear one or two words from both of you. Do you both or either of you have hope right now?
100%. This is me personally, in my view. I think that this enormous hard time that we're in is also an opportunity. It's also a place where we can grow from, and we can create bonds that weren't there before, because people are in such need of fixing of the situation. And I think we can grow much stronger as a movement, but also as a part of Israeli society that's striving for partnership and peace. I think it gives me a lot of hope.
Rula, the same question to you then. Do you have hope at this moment?
I do. I think the hundreds and thousands of people who came to our activities, to our conventions, are telling us that they have hope. So we can't really give up. I think through these hard times that we've been having, we need to bring a different voice. We need the voice of these thousands of people who reach out for peace, who want to have peace. And I think it's time for us to call out for our leaders to understand that at this piece of land, we had been gone through too many wars. Each and every war gave us the same outcome, and we are fed up with blood, with violence, and with occupation. We need to understand that only security can bring us peace. Two nations live at this land, and both of us deserve to have peace, security, liberty, and equality.
I think that's a good moment to end the programme. Thank you very much indeed. Rula, Daood talking to us there, and Nadav, Shofet as well from Standing Together. Thank you both. Thanks to you as well for watching Middle East Matters on France 24. That's it for the programme this week, but do stay with us. Much more news and analysis still to come here on the channel.